the Brisbane Lions are premiers in season 2025 with a 47-point demolition of the Geelong Football Club, and we're here to dissect it all. Brownie, we saw the great footage of you going up there presenting the cup. Could not wipe the smile off your face, holding the cup. You wanted the finger. What's the last 48 hours been like for you?
Oh, it's been amazing. What a great memory, and obviously get out on the ground and spend it with the kids as well. But from the moment you handed the cup over to Joel and myself, Jack, I did start to think forward a little bit and just think, what if? And it was just unbelievable 3 hours later to be able to do that and hand it over to the boys. I didn't loiter because I really didn't do anything. Apart from being a supporter.
He was off.
I was gone, but geez, it was just unbelievable. And the kids had the time of their life out there. There was a few snow angels going on in the confetti, but to see the players, the joy on the players' faces up close and personal, and it probably brings back great memories from 20 years ago when I was a kid.
What about? I mean, Fags is obviously really well held.
Yeah.
Like, whether it's never too high, never too low. Did you feel like, was the group mellow or were they, I didn't think they were as over the top as you'd expect some of a young group like that to be.
Yeah, you're right, because we'll go through some of the younger blokes soon, but, there's 8 players under 22, so it's a phenomenal effort, really. This group reminds me of the 2003 group, not to bring up old scars.
Thank you, mate. Move on.
But in terms of their ability to overcome adversity, they're a tough team, even though they're youngsters, but they overcome adversity all year, whether that be injuries, whether that be bad performances and responding the next week.
Tough draw.
Tough draw, coming back from a bad qualifying final loss. So I sensed... I was really positive on the Friday at the parade when we saw the players, and you can see the two teams mingling at the back of the stage before they presented the crowd, and they were very loose and relaxed. And I thought that's a great sign, especially when you've got a younger group.
You're a bit of an elder statesman now for the Brisbane Lions, still a very passionate supporter, and you've been staunch on them and their prospects through the year. What's the communication like been with the new age Lions after winning the flag? How's the phone been going?
I had a bit of feedback today. So Kyle Lohman and a couple of those scallywags, the young blokes, and I got a couple of little reminders about a promise I made 3 weeks ago. Yeah,
well, do you want to go back to when they beat the Gold Coast in the Q Clash in the finals in the second week of finals, and you said this after the game, Brownie.
I tell you, reckon I should get the Lions in the side of me head.
You got to do something with it, I reckon, Brownie.
I tell you what, if you win the flag, I'll get the Lions in the side of me head.
Right. Sounds good.
Speaking of haircuts, so Brownie's going to get, what, that version or the other version if you win?
I reckon Brownie should get this. What do you reckon?
I reckon we'll go with that one.
Well, Brownie, we do not forget.
Is he going to step?
There they are.
Ready to go.
You're going to be the barber.
They're lining up.
Mate.
Me and
what do you know about cutting?
Me and your son Jack are going to have a crack at your hair at the end of the show.
Mate, I'll lose one of me bloody ears.
Have you got any events coming up soon?
I've never used one of these before.
No, I can tell.
Never crack.
Look at you, mate.
Which one are you going?
The Lions or the Mohawk? Well, the boys made it pretty clear. We might have a video later on, but I got a call from Lohman and my old mate Dane Zorko today. Tell you what, it looked very nice up there on the rooftop of one of the bars they're in, and I nearly cracked open a beer at 10 o'clock. It looked very appetising, but the boys are having a good time up there. But I think we've got to go the Mohawk version, unfortunately.
We will be getting into Brownie's hair later on the show. Let's get into the game, and it was a tight-held game through the first half, scores level, but the Lions blew them out, Brownie. It was a fantastic effort from Chris Fagan's mob.
Yeah, it really was. And look, there's probably two parts to the game, isn't there? Because it was tied up at half-time. But I thought the amount of work they poured into, the amount of physical work they poured into Geelong set up the second half and the way they ran, because they looked really sharp across the ground in the second half. It was a stark contrast from the qualifying final when I thought they were reactive. They looked really proactive. And I know you boys will go through some of the stoppage vision, but just the look was really good. When Charlie Cameron kicked a goal early in the second quarter, I thought they're really good signs because he's an energiser. So for me, even though it was tight at half-time, I thought the game looked, on the Lions' terms, Chris Fagan acknowledged that today. I think he might have been on the radio and or post-game and said he was quite comfortable at half-time with where the group was at.
Well, one of the exceptional things about this particular team is how young they are. They're 8 players under...
That's ridiculous.
Under 22, which I suppose you're thinking of, like, you think multiple pre-seasons prepares you and hardens you for the big games, especially being able to have to going around the long way, having the hard draw that they had throughout the back half of the year. To be able to manage these guys, and we're talking...
$19.79. I think that's really important point to point out there. This is like the youngest team.
So the Baby Bombers, under them,
Yep.
under the Collingwood team of 2010.
And teams are traditionally now getting older.
It's incredible.
You know, because so if you look at that, say, Gallup, Ashcrofts, Wilmot, Fletcher, Morris, Marshall, Lohman. But you look at like Lohman, Fletcher, Morris, Wilmot, and Levi and Will Ashcroft. They've actually played a lot of finals now, haven't they? So even though they're young, they're actually relatively experienced finals-wise. You know, so that certainly helps as well.
Well, it wasn't a high transition game for a lot of it. Low uncontested marks early, any of that melee type football that you expect in a grand final, and it stayed there for a long time until Brisbane were able to break it. And when they broke it, it was all one-way running, wasn't it? And that was from really solid contests, solid ability to rebound, and we'll look at that a bit later, that half-back run. But then it was all downhill for the Lions and uphill for the Cats.
Well, a man that won his second Norm Smith in only his third final series is Will Ashcroft, and he's under the age of 21. Geordie, he fits perfectly into that bracket there. Incredible effort. What are we to make of Will Ashcroft? Is he the youngest walk-up start in the AFL Hall of Fame at 21?
Oh, well, he set a high bar. Certainly, I mean, he's achieved nearly everything in the game that he can. Probably a Brownlow medal beckons at some stage, but I think he's part of the new generation that come in ready to go. I don't know about you, but certainly in when we were sort of coming into the game, and maybe you two come into the game, they weren't as physically prepared. These kids come in right now, and they are. Remember Rowe's first couple of games? Yeah, Ashcroft has come in and looked not out of place, and. You know, I think we've said this multiple times throughout the year. His hands are nearly the cleanest in the AFL in terms of when he gets it. Sometimes his feet don't even hit the ground, and he's already seen who's coming next. So he loves the big stage. He was great when Lachie Neale was out. He was complimented by Lachie Neale again, but another fantastic game on grand final.
We marvel at Nick Dacos, Bucks. Does he sit comfortably above or par with Nick Dacos, or is he potentially above at the moment?
Well, if you're back-to-back Norm Smith medalist, that puts you on another level again. I mean, whether you're comparing against Nick Dacos or anyone else in the game, it's only been done twice before. I was actually had a few beers with Andrew McLeod on Saturday night, and he said as he was writing his name down, Will Ashcroft 3, he thought this is going to happen.
Yeah.
But have a look at that. I mean, I was actually surprised by how far out in front Ashcroft was, because. I mean, look at the names underneath there, and I think probably down to 5, down to where Zorko is. I thought, I thought that was really even across the board. McCluggage, he had 14 touches and 1 goal at three-quarter time, but filled his boots in the last quarter. He played well throughout, but I thought the guys, the first 5, you could have thrown a blanket over them, and I'm surprised there was as much discrepancy in the voting.
Was it a hard game to vote?
It was.
You cast your votes.
Yeah, incredibly hard. I had 3 for Ashcroft, 2 for Harris Andrews, and 1 for Zach Bailey. I think the whole world knows that if Zach Bailey kicked straight, he would have won it.
Yeah.
Obviously with 9 shots on goal, but I mean,
That was an amazing effort. To think he had 9 shots a goal as a half-forward flank.
It is bad. But even Darcy Gardner, at half-time I would have given Darcy Gardner a vote. He was fantastic. He doesn't fall into those
Jeremy
names
Cameron.
there. He did a great job on Jeremy Cameron. Charlie Cameron kicked 4 goals, 3 in the third quarter.
Yeah.
So
Were you happy with your votes?
Yeah. Yep. You?
Yeah. I didn't vote.
Well, you just... I'm
I'm just asking, were you happy with your votes at that time?
No
They
voters'
mirrored the
remorse.
coaches' votes, so I was pretty happy with that.
What I've learned about it is you're not going to please everyone.